Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something that's literally rewriting the rules of our skies and the entire logistics industry. We are breaking down exactly how metro-scale drone delivery is becoming a reality right now, specifically in Houston, Texas. The FAA is actively reviewing a massive expansion proposed by Wing Aviation, and honestly, this is a fascinating case study. It hits on regulatory strategy, operational scale, and really the whole future of commercial aviation. This isn't just about dropping off a few small packages. This data gives us an incredible blueprint for where the entire industry is heading. So let's unpack it together.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with Houston's unprecedented operational scale, then see how players are scaling before the new Part 108 rules hit, look at environmental reviews as expansion tools, frame the community conversation, and finally cover the bottom line for the industry. We're going to move systematically from the massive scale of the federal review right down to the highly practical takeaways for drone operators and local city planners on the ground.
All right, Section 1, Houston's unprecedented operational scale.
So, the FAA released a draft environmental assessment in May 2026 for Wing Aviation's commercial package delivery. And here's the thing, this isn't some tight little demonstration project or a novelty route. This is a massive scale signal. Just look at this number, 75. Wing's proposal envisions a network of up to 75 drone nests spread across the whole Houston metro area. Think about that for a second. Instead of using traditional airports, they want to embed these nests right next to where you buy your groceries or pick up your dry cleaning. It's distributed aviation infrastructure planted right in the middle of everyday life.
And the density gets even wilder from there. Each of those 75 nests could support up to 24 aircraft. Now, these drones would cruise at typical altitudes, between 150 and 300 feet above ground level, staying comfortably below that 400-foot ceiling. Then, when it's time for a drop-off, the drone descends to exactly 23 feet, hovers, and just lowers the package on a line. Plus, every single nest is strategically designed to cover a solid 6-mile delivery radius.
So, what does this all mean when you multiply it out? Well, the proposal outlines a maximum planning value of up to 400 deliveries per operating day per nest. If you actually build out that full theoretical network across Houston, you are looking at a potential 30,000 deliveries every single day. 30,000! To put that into perspective, that is like taking the daily delivery volume of a small postal sorting facility and just putting it directly into the sky. Now sure, their actual ramp-up rates will almost certainly be lower as they start out, but these maximum planning values show us the absolutely staggering operational envelope the FAA is being asked to evaluate right now.
To physically pull this off, we found they plan to use something called auto-loaders. These are basically passive, Y-shaped loading stands used for package pickup. Wing wants to set up 100 to 300 of these autoloaders at the nests or at retail partner locations. And this is a real game changer because it brilliantly illustrates how the practical footprint of aviation is actively shifting away from gated airfields and straight into ordinary local parking lots and neighborhood shopping centers.
And that brings us to a major paradigm shift, the shift from local route approval to citywide network approval. Think about it. A single delivery nest is just a local operation, but 75 nests? That becomes a permanent citywide aviation layer. Regulators and communities now have to evaluate a full metro network of recurring, low-altitude traffic. They have to figure out how these drones are going to interact with public safety helicopters, emergency response routes, and other uncrewed operators sharing that exact same urban airspace.
Moving on to Section 2, scaling before Part 108 rules.
The timing of this Houston expansion is a huge tell. The whole industry is holding its breath for the broader beyond visual line of sight rules, what we call Part 108. But well-capitalized companies like Wing aren't waiting around. This comparison really shows the dynamic at play. On one side, we have the present, operating under existing Part 135 Air Carrier Authority, relying on specific exemptions, navigating site-by-site NEPA environmental reviews, and managing all these incremental amendments. It's highly complex and heavily negotiated. On the other side is the future. That standardized, universal Part 108 framework everyone hopes will streamline the whole shebang. Wing's Houston proposal sits completely inside that messy, complex toolbox on the left.
Because we're still stuck in the present, scaling up today means absorbing an immense amount of bespoke regulatory overhead. Just look at this list. We're talking extensive legal work, dense environmental docs, intense community coordination, rigorous flight ops engineering, validation for detect and avoid systems, and detailed contingency planning. It's a workable pathway if you're an Alphabet subsidiary like Wing, but man, it is a massive, uncomfortable hurdle for smaller operators trying to compete before those standardized Part 108 rules actually arrive.
All right, Section 3.
Environmental reviews as expansion tools.
Currently, the primary mechanism for evaluating this kind of expansion relies heavily on NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act. And honestly, these documents are the absolute best public window into an operator's real working model. The FAA's review scope is incredibly comprehensive. They look at specific impacts like noise, air quality, land use, biological resources, hazmat, and even historic preservation. Interestingly enough, the draft assessment's preliminary position is that Wing's proposed operation wouldn't create significant noise or air quality impacts under their specific studied assumptions. Naturally, that finding is going to be heavily debated by commenters, especially when people start talking about the noise of repeat overflights versus just a single event.
So, the crucial takeaway for any operator paying attention to this is environmental review is fundamentally part of the operational approval stack. If you want to scale a drone program into dense commercial and residential environments, your operational details are going to be laid bare. Precise noise modeling, exact flight profiles, generator emissions for your charging stations, and specific route designs, these all become critical, unavoidable artifacts required for final approval.
Section 4. Framing the community conversation.
The public comment period for this Houston draft runs right into early June 2026. To approach this effectively, we found that the most useful comments actually skip the emotional debate about drones and focus strictly on actionable governance. Here are some incredibly high-value questions local agencies and operators should really be asking. How will the operator prevent route concentration over the exact same homes or parks? What's the fly less logic around sensitive areas? How exactly will complaint data be collected and used to modify operations? Are those maximum daily delivery assumptions actually realistic? How are public safety helicopter routes being protected? And how are they limiting the use of temporary diesel generators? The regulatory approval might sit with the FAA, but public acceptance is always local.
Finally, Section 5, bottom line for the industry.
Wing isn't doing this in a vacuum, right? Competitors like Amazon, Zipline, and DroneUp are actively fighting to crack this exact same code, and Wing's partnership with Walmart is the ultimate test to see if network density can actually justify the heavy operational costs. To break down the practical takeaways for this race, let's look at the bottom line. For operators, future approvals won't just be about whether your aircraft is physically reliable. You are going to be judged heavily on route design, noise exposure, infrastructure footprint, community notice, and how well you play with existing low-altitude users. And on the public agency side, aviation infrastructure is no longer confined to the airport. It's entering your cities through commercial real estate, parking lots, and shopping centers. Local planners absolutely must develop a local playbook to handle this new reality right now.
And that brings us to a final, really provocative thought. As the entire industry watches Houston and waits for those standardized rules to be published, we have to ask, will the eventual Part 108 rule make this pathway more accessible for everyone? Or will it simply formalize a race that the biggest, best capitalized players have already started? It is a fascinating competitive signal, and the blueprint is literally being written in the skies over Texas right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep looking up.